So when I started this project, one of the things that I really loved about this story is just how like whimsical and crazy and fun the story is. And initially I felt like my usual style wouldn't necessarily fit that. So for inspiration, I really looked at stories or artists that shared that similar sense of whimsicality, is that a word? Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, one of those particular people was Miyazaki, and I think everybody's familiar with him. So he really had that sense of just imagination and fun and craziness, and I really loved particularly just these rough watercolor sketches, and I really latched onto that idea. But aesthetically, I felt like I could push the overall image of the story to really enhance that sense of wonder. And one area of inspiration that I really latched onto was insects. I felt like insects in general are both very beautiful, but also have this sense of being both creepy. So in that sense, it's sort of that whimsical sense of being like, they're creepy, but really awesome too. So I wanted to push that with my own version of the story. So in one way, I think really demonstrates that process was when I started designing Luke. So these are some early sketches that you can see where basically this is a style that I'm pretty comfortable with. But I started moving to a style that a little more 2D traditional animation, which is kind of what I had overall in mind, where I wanted to go with this. And I ended up here with sort of this blend of watercolor and 2D, and still sort of my own style in there. But so I was overall pretty happy with that. And I took that aesthetic and tried to apply it to the rest of the characters. So when I went to go through each character, you know, I tried to carry that sense of creepy cuteness. So you can see sort of Luke, for instance, he's this cute, bubbly character, but inside you can still see all of his organs kind of floating around and bouncing around. And Lucy's kind of like this cute moth creature that you might see a moth and be like, that's kind of gross, but she's also kind of cute, you know what I'm saying? But with Miss Grindtooth, I really pushed the gross, so she's a big, fat, creepy, caterpillar-like creature that's sort of decked out in all this jewelry, and I felt like that really augmented her sense of vanity and grossness. So when I went to the environments, I felt like I needed to push the environments so that they would augment the characters. So Tomorrowland, in that way, I wanted, it's put to this in my book, so you can see it better. But, alright. So at Tomorrowland, I felt like, just to push that sense of whimsicalness, I combined all the characters that inhabit Tomorrowland, so that's Miss What's and Mr. Sleeve and the King, and basically made them the island. So I felt like not only did that really encapsulate that sense of wonder and fascination that I wanted, but it also was very kind of creepy and weird, which I like. And then with Ping, one of the things is kind of stereotypical in the story, almost borderline racist, but when they talk about the Chinese being super industrious. So with Ping, I wanted to design a city that was constantly active and very complex. So I did, you know, you can see sort of these cross sections of the city where you just see all this massive construction going on. And then, of course, with Sorrowland, I wanted something that augmented Miss Grindtooth's sense of peril and dread, so I chose a very sort of dark, cavernous kind of motif. And sort of played along the idea that she would line up all the children in Ping, because I felt like a lot of school is just kind of lining up and waiting. So I wanted to play with that idea. And presentationally, you can see I just kind of broke it into characters and environments. And then with the poster, basically I chose an image that I felt really illustrated the sense of adventure in the story. So you can see Jin and Luke sailing off into the sunset as they leave Tomorrowland behind. And then here, this is just kind of a quick models, mock-ups of these little characters that, for me, was more about form and scale rather than detail. So they're still pretty rough, but I had fun making them. And
all right, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Why do you think anybody would watch your version?
I think they watch it because it's not only different, but I think it's still really fun and captures the sense of the story.
Okay, good answer. So one of the things that you do want to know, if you're going this strange, which for the most part, at first glimpse, we're thinking, okay, that's really on the strange side. Why would anybody watch this? Well, it's kind of like an outpouring of imagination and creativity and the whole watercolor, the whole creatures, the whole insect thing. And you're pushing it towards a level where it's like getting closer and closer to being over the top, which I'm not here to judge whether it went too far or not, but it has a nice trajectory going and allowing yourself, you're kind of like, yeah, hell, why not just go really all the way out there and make, this dung beetle thing there with mushrooms growing on it. And sometimes, you get to experiment and see just how far you can let your mind go, especially while you're in school. There's always time to do things that are real, that are production value, that are commercial, that are spot on. But if you've never done something like this and you always wanted to, then why not do it? It's a little bit the same what Ahmed, you were saying. I've never done this, so let's go for it. And that, I think, this personal achievement for some of you is worth, to me, almost more than achieving anything that the class asked for. Because if you've grown in one way or another, then that's already like the winning day for me, sort of. Now, having said that, I very much appreciate the models. For your flat work, man, you have to go bigger.
Yeah.
You see it now, and you're like, this would have been beautiful to have these, we talked about these raw, unmounted pieces of watercolor paper, just even curling on the bottom, not even pinned down, but they're just kind of all hanging. And then take up a whole wall, and even have the watercolor brushes, heck, even just paint straight on the wall, and really allow that texture to live and breathe and become one with sort of presentation. That's the one thing that I would say.
I would agree. I think I was just a little too conscious of space, I guess. So, but I think
the whole beautiful wall.
It's like
well, it is what it is. It's for you to learn future terms to say, hey, okay, have a few that you print large, bring with you. And if you never get to show them, then don't worry about it. If there's no space, you go for small. If there's more space, you can still fill up the space on the bottom. Just something to, because I know what the designs look like, because we talked about them. I know your environments actually, and what you did with those. But boy, from where I'm at, it's like totally getting lost. I know what is in them because we talked about it in the last couple of weeks. But for a fresh audience, it's like, whoa, there's a lot of color, but you easily brush it off. Just keep that in the back of your mind. Okay?
Thank you.
Nicely done.